Ghanaians and explain more our manifesto and listen to you, Ghanaians will understand us. You know that yes, we have a man who we give, when we give him the chance, will pursue policies and programs that will upgrade the quality of life. This is His Excellency, Dr.Bawumia. And I have the honor of inviting His Excellency to address us.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dambuchi. Let me stand on the existing protocols and ask, this is a very, very important meeting the media, and you have a very difficult job to do as the media. Sometimes through your work, as hard as it is, people lose their lives. This is how difficult it is for the media. And so before we really proceed, I want to ask in honor of the memory of members of the media who've lost their lives in carrying out their job to get up and let us have a minute's silence before we proceed. May their souls and those all who have departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I warmly welcome you to our maiden media encounter. The notice, I know, was short.
We are live on almost every media platform you can imagine. Please, let's reduce the movement. Millions of Ghanaians are watching us this moment. For those who are standing behind, my wish would be that you will find a seat. Our photographers
and had to be suspended to make way for a broader consultation, the choice also of my running mate, and the launch of our manifesto, all of which have now been completed. The media plays an important role in the democratic process, and those seeking to govern our nation must be interested in power.
The second question, Your Excellency, the media industry is currently facing serious financial distress. Some media houses are folding up, and there are hints of imminent sale of state-owned media. What are your thoughts on selling the state-owned media, and how would you help the media industry to overcome the financial distress if you are elected as president? Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you. So only the DJ gets to ask 2 questions, please. Gordon. We'll take about 6 questions, then His Excellency will respond and come to you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'll keep my questions short as myself. Former President Mahama says you were supposed to, but you seem to have failed in the management of the economy. Do you have any response?
Okay. In September, I see at least we get steering. So we'll keep moving.
Thank you, His Excellency. My name is Sheldon and I work with Afima FM in Kofuri and the East Regional Capital. My question is very simple and short. Is there anything you have disagreed with in this government as a Vice President? Thank you.
Eugene from Ashanti Radio, Insure FM.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Vice President. My name is Eugene Osintutu. I work in Lab FM in Kumasi, subsidiary of the Multimedia Group. Listening to you last Sunday and also reading your manifesto, and you're giving us an abridged version. When you go to the page 23 and 24, you are tackling the rising cost of living basically on 4 legs. Food, then you talk about transportation, you talk about housing, and also electricity. Now on transportation, your solution is bringing in, one of your solutions is bringing in electric vehicles for public transport. And last Sunday, you did indicate that you're expecting about 100 of them before December. I have 3 questions on that.
Hey.
We know EV vehicles are mostly charged. We have public charging systems that we use to, power these buses to ply our roads. When you check the Energy Commission website as of this evening, we have only 5 public charging ports in the country, 5. And 2 of them are actually for pushing cars specifically. Then 1 at the Total Energy Station at the Liberation Road. So between now and December, where are we building the charging port? Is the government building it? What's the source of fund? Is it the private sector or is it PPP? So that's my question 1.
Thank you.
Then question 2. No, under it. I'm not that.
Make it short.
Okay, so still on the EV, we know that most of these charging ports for green mobility innovation, they must be powered with green energy. So are we already adding on to our energy mix, which is the brown, making it counterproductive, or we build dedicated solar panels for these charging ports? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think we'll go to this side before we come back. So we'll go first. Don't worry, we'll keep moving to every row.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Vice President, so throughout your campaign, I have noticed that you've been talking about job creation and support for businesses. I've also taken the pain to read all the 260-page manifesto that you launched a week ago. And I see that the golden thread in that manifesto is also the creation of jobs. But the young people in Ghana are asking, really, where will they find themselves in that manifesto? How are you going to create jobs for the young people of this country? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Obafos. I think at this point, His Excellency will take the questions and we don't have the chance. Your Excellency.
The first question by the Vice President of the GJ was on commitment to media freedom. And I think that commitment is very absolute. I think the press people have fought and have lost their lives even to get press freedom or media freedom in this country. A lot of the times we take it for granted, but I think that media freedom and is so pivotal to the whole democratic exercise that we are embarked on. If you don't have media freedom, you have a difficulty. I mean, the lack of media freedom is a characteristic of societies which are more dictatorial. And I think one of the things about Ghana that everybody who comes here really appreciates is the freedom of the media. We talk a lot on radio, TV, all day. And so I'm very committed to this because I'm inherently someone who is very committed to democracy. And I don't think that anyone should attack a member of the press for doing their job. And so we will totally be against that. And ask all our supporters to refrain absolutely from doing that, because that undermines the very democracy that we are doing. So I think that one is clear. The issue of selling state-owned media, I am not aware that anything of that nature has come to cabinet, but should it come, there has to be a justification for it. We will await any such thing that will come. I'm not aware that there's a proposal to sell the state-owned media. But if it comes, it has to be justified, and of course a big decision like that will have an economic messiah, supposedly, who has failed. Sometimes I get a little surprised and amazed the former president when he talks about economic mismanagement, because he should know his own record. I mean, we don't all have short memories. We really don't all have short memories. His record in economic management, what he left us with in 2016 was an abysmal record. Just an abysmal record. We had endured doom so for 4 years with all the destruction of industry and livelihoods that happened. People died because of doom so. Hospitals. The National Health Service was virtually collapsed. Remember, we are basically back to a cash and carry system. The National Ambulance Service was virtually dead. We had maybe about 37 ambulances for the whole country. Unemployment as a result was very high. Agriculture, GDP growth had declined to 3.4%. 3.4%. Agricultural growth had declined to 2.9%. And of course, industry growth had collapsed because of those. Unemployment was high. There was a freeze on public recruitment as a result. And the banking sector was on the verge of collapse. We have, as a result, the cancellation of teacher training allowances, the cancellation of nursing training allowances. You had a 3-month pay policy for teachers who worked for 3 years and they paid. And many children could not attend senior high school because of difficulties of paying fees and so on. You had many challenges that he left us with. So when you juxtapose that record with what we have been able to do in these last 8 years almost, it's really night and day. We have created at least 2.1 million jobs. The latest number I saw was 2.3 million, but let's say at least 2.1 million jobs in the last 7 years. And this is hard data I'm talking about, 2.1 million jobs. We've kept the public sector workers employed and fully paid through the COVID pandemic. We didn't lay anybody off. And if you look at it, we've built more roads, 3 times more the length of roads than what he did in office. We've built more railway than any other government before the government. Expanded rural telephony. There were 78 sites for rural telephony when we came in. Today there are 1,008 sites for rural telephony. We built more libraries, public libraries, than any other government. I mean, his time he built only 8 years, 3 public libraries. 8 years. And we've built 54 public libraries in 8 years. We've constructed about 12 major fish landing sites across the country. Zane, Dixco, Mori, Mumford, Winneba, Senyabriko, Gomoa, Fete, Teshi, Osu, Ikumfi, and Mfasima. Constructed 2 fishing harbors in Elmina and Jamestown. Constructed more sanitation facilities, 817, than any other government in the Fourth Republic. This has increased the proportion of the population with access to toilet facilities from 33% in 2016 to 80%. And 5,400 communities have been declared open defecation free. We built more sports facilities in Ghana than any other government in the Fourth Republic. You're talking about Otema, the University of Ghana, and so on. When we came into office, there were only 3 astroturfs in the whole of Ghana. The whole of Ghana, 3. Today you have over 150. We've abolished the 3-month pay policy, constructed 120 courts were constructed, 80 have been completed with bungalows, and we've kept the lights on large broadly in the last 8 years. We've restored teacher and nursing training allowances. We've increased the beneficiaries of scholarships by 70%. And the national health insurance is now being extended to cover sickle cell patients with hydroxyurea, very expensive drug. I led the negotiations for that to happen. We have extended the national health insurance to cover childhood cancer, extended the national health insurance to cover kidney dialysis for over 60s and under 18s. We saved the deposits of 4.6 million bank depositors who really were going to lose their deposits if those banks were not saved. I don't understand whether the former president has taken his time to actually understand what happened in the banking sector. Some atrocious things happened. And this is why these banks had to be saved. They were not collapsed, they were merged into other banks. And no banking depositor lost 1 cedi. Everybody maintained. But you had very bad things happening. Some of the banks broke all the rules and extended loans way above the single obligor limit. They were given, in some cases, 1 billion cedis by the Bank of Ghana to help them get out of the mess, and they only got deeper into the mess. Another bank was giving capital to save the situation, was giving money from the Bank of Ghana's lender of last resort facility, and they used that money to go and set up Capital Bank instead of rescuing the problem that they had. They took the money from the central bank and went to set up another bank, which was also collapsed. Some took money and went and invested in private property. So it was against this background when the governor came to report, and this was one of my nightmares as in the last 8 years. I couldn't sleep that night. And the banking system, most people didn't understand how close we were to a collapse of the entire banking system, but we were this close. Because all it would have taken was for a few depositors to go to UT Bank or UNT and they'll tell you there's no money. What would happen? There would have been a complete run on the banking system in Ghana. We would have collapsed the banking system. When the governor came to report that we were on the verge of collapse, decisions had to be taken to save the banking system. The fact checkers. So I took my time to explain to the fact checkers exactly what was happening in the field. Unfortunately, once they understood it, they didn't come back to withdraw. They just kept quiet. You know, today, when chalk was a problem, remember, chalk in our schools under the former president, when it was a problem, today we have acquired tablets to give to the students. Every senior high school student is getting a tablet that we have. So I'm just putting some of these points together. You know, Agenda 111, so far we built 47 hospitals, 428 children's compounds, 230 health centers. I mean, that is massive. That's excluding Agenda 111. Brought in drone delivery. Ghana is now the whole world's the largest medical drone delivery service in the whole world. We're leading the world. The ambulance service, which was collapsing, we brought in progress in that direction. So I think that, I mean, what is clear, I don't have to go through every sector. The data, for me, I speak only with data. The data is very, very clear that we have our government, we have outperformed the government of former President Mahama in the management of the economy in virtually every sector. Virtually every sector. You tell me whether it's GDP growth, whether it's per capita income, whether it is industry growth. I mean, virtually every sector we have outperformed. So he either